Now for our first conversation of the day, Namibians, united in their diversity and conscious of their right to be free in their land, fought bravely against oppression to determine their destiny as free people. Now in pursuit of that goal of freedom, many paid the ultimate price. The adoption of the Constitution on the 9th of February 1990 was therefore a significant milestone in Namibia's right to self-determination because it laid the basis for independence and the founding of a constitutional democracy on the 21st of March 1990. For an in-depth discussion on why the day is such a big deal, I'm now joined by Emma Jario, a consultant at the Namibia Institute of Democracy. A very good morning, Ms. Jario. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank
All
you.
right. Now, Ms. Jario, what is a constitution in a nutshell? And also, why do we have days set aside to mark its establishment?
Well, in a nutshell, in simple terms, a constitution is a contract between the state, our government, and the people. You know, our constitution is the foundation of how our government is formed and how our laws are made. So why do we celebrate this day? It's important to note that our constitution has been hailed as one of the best constitutions in the world. You know, our founding mothers and fathers of the nation, you know, through the liberation struggle, drafted the constitution. And as I said, it's been hailed as exemplary, one of the best constitutions in the world. So that in itself should be given some sort of significance to celebrate the 9th of February,
All
which is
right.
Constitution Day.
All right. Now, today marks 33 years since the adoption of the Namibian Constitution. Perhaps if we can just focus briefly on Article 95, which provides for the promotion of the welfare of people, would you say that the Namibian Constitution is living up to its mandate as was envisioned by the Constituent Assembly?
To some extent, you know, obviously there's more that can be done in terms of the education system, the health system. So to some extent, yes, but we as stakeholders also need to be involved to narrow the gap between the rich and the poor. We need to be aware that the marginalized group are majority in this country, and it will take efforts from everybody. But at the same time, we should also look at other systems of welfare, like support for orphans and vulnerable children and people living with disability.
All right. Now, some argue that Constitution does not guarantee social rights like the rights of housing, water, and sanitation. Looking at the socio-economic situation of Namibia, what do you make of this argument?
If you look at Article 8 of the Constitution, you know, respect for human dignity. What is dignity? There's nothing dignified about drinking unclean water. There's nothing dignified about being homeless, sleeping under a bridge. And if you read the South African Constitution, it's very specific to those rights, you know, rights to housing, rights to water, whereas our Constitution in Chapter 3 pertains to the fundamental human rights and freedoms. So Article 8 makes provisions for these social rights. It's just, I believe, a matter of policy implementation and strengthening those institutions to ensure that these rights are recognized and not violated or neglected.
The discussion forum on the Constitution Day focuses on the theme, Our Rights and Responsibilities as Beneficiaries of the Constitution. Could you kindly just elaborate more on this?
So our public discussion, which will be taking place next week at the House of Democracy. So we want to create awareness. So despite the incredible progress we've made, some citizens still struggle to have the
Ms. Jario?
rights recognized. Some people don't understand their rights, the rights to yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we lost you for a second there. Please continue.
Oh, so as I was saying, not everyone has access to information and not everyone understands their rights, like the rights to education, freedom of expression, and so forth. So your rights can easily be violated if you're not aware of them, and you cannot make informed decisions if you're not equipped with information. So the theme behind our discussion is the rights and responsibilities as beneficiaries of the Constitution. So at the same time we have rights, we also have responsibilities, which is defending the Constitution, respecting the rights and opinions of others. So with those rights comes responsibilities. And in as much as we have the same rights as everyone else, we should also ensure that we don't infringe on the rights of others. And another responsibility would be participating in the democratic process. Elections are coming up next year in November 2024. So I encourage all Namibian citizens to exercise their constitutional right to vote.
All right. Now, the day is celebrated today, the 9th of Feb. Do you think that the day is celebrated with the recognition it deserves?
Well, the Constitution Day, the 9th of February, is not as publicized as Independence Day, but that's why it is important to create awareness. And like I said earlier, this is the objective of our public discussion next week. So we have to make a point of educating our people, not only in the schools, the youth at large, the senior citizens, the women, the entire country. Everyone should be aware of the Constitution as a living document and, yeah, be aware of their rights.
All right. Now, who are some of the speakers that the public can look forward to at the public discussion that you guys will be holding next week?
We will have a speaker from the Office of the Ombudsman. We will have a member of parliament joining us, and we will have a speaker from the Equal Rights Namibia movement joining us.
All right. So when exactly will the public briefing be taking place?
The public discussion is scheduled for the 13th of February in the afternoon from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock at the House of Democracy. That is 70 to 72 Franz Indongo Street in Windhoek West.
All right. Ms. Jario, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Good night.
That was Emma Jario, who is a consultant.